Police officers are resigning at a faster rate ever than before, and in this video we'll explore exactly why we must demand change before chaos reigns over us and there's no one left to help us when we need that help the most. We all know that all we have to do is pick up the phone and call for help, and help will come. But this has been taken for granted for far too long, and people say, oh well, the police are corrupt, so who cares? And to those people I say, no. The police on the ground that will come to help you are not the problem. The problem is the organisation as a whole, and the political influences surrounding it, and the practices that go on at the very top. What happens when the day comes when we call the police or there's a serious emergency and nobody is there to help us? Under recent governments, this is exactly what could happen unless something changes, and changes very quickly. People often criticise the police. They say officers are too busy to help or are focused on the wrong things. Now, imagine that getting much worse. Officers are already working to the bone, often starting their shifts early and being run ragged from emergency to emergency and rarely ever finish on time. They do their very best to help people, only to be pulled away to the next urgent call. They're becoming burnt out, overworked, underpaid, under-resourced, and kicked at every opportunity by the media while being used as a political football by the government. Police resources are being stripped away to the point where officers are frankly unable to do their jobs, never mind do them well. I've heard countless stories of people calling the police in their moment of need, only to find no one available to help. Stories of burglaries where the victim receives nothing but a crime reference number for their insurance. But when you consider how poorly the police are treated and how little they have to actually work with, despite growing demand, it's hardly surprising. How long do we actually have before officers quit in mass droves saying, you know what, this just is not worth it anymore? They get assaulted, spat on, ridiculed in the media if they make a mistake, recorded and posted online for simply doing their job, only to be told repeatedly that you're not good enough and you're not valued. Police officers face the most horrific incidents daily, and they are not robots. Mental health issues are on the rise, PTSD, complex PTSD, repeated trauma. It's enough to break even the strongest person. And because of the lack of people now wanting to be police officers, the police are actually lowering the standards of the quality of people that need to be police officers in order to bolster numbers. I've been told that some forces are scrapping the interview process because too many people fail it. The fitness test, the bleep test, has been reduced from a 5.4, which is a walk, to 3.8 in a desperate attempt to keep numbers up. The police are being flooded by young, inexperienced officers with no real life experience put through the College and Policing degree programme. They are ill-equipped and unprepared for the horrors that await them on the front line. I've heard stories of officers needing an emotional support bear. One officer called their parents to accompany them to a sudden death. Another didn't realise they had to work night shifts. What on earth is going on with new recruits? Here's the harsh truth. There aren't enough experienced, good officers staying because of working conditions. This apparently forces police forces to hire anyone who wants to be a cop, rather than selecting the right people who can truly support the public. Here are some hard facts. Fewer than 15 to 20% of officers feel fairly paid, considering the demands and hazards of their job, with little improvement despite a small pay rise. Around 56 to 58% report low morale consistently over the years. Over 90% feel negatively impacted by government treatment, with fewer than 10% feeling respected by the government. Nearly 70% of officers worry about their personal finances daily, and more than 20% intend to resign within 2 years or as soon as possible, projected to surpass 25% by 2025. 64 to 66% say their workload is too high or much too high. 82 to 92% experience mental health issues such as stress, anxiety, low mood, and often caused or worsened by work. Less than 30% of officers would recommend becoming a police officer. Overall, pay, morale, job satisfaction and mental health have steadily declined or remained critically low since 2018. If these trends continue, the police service could face a severe crisis, threatening its very sustainability by 2025 and beyond. So what does this mean? It means that in the near future, if you ever need to call the police, there might not be anyone available to come to your aid. This means that criminals could act with impunity and victims of crime have no one to turn to for justice. It means that crime rates will rise and the public safety will decline. I know some people dislike the police. They believe officers are corrupt and punitive. But the overwhelming majority of officers I've spoken to said they're under immense pressure to make arrests even when they don't feel like it's justified or there's little evidence. They're monitored on arrest, traffic stops, traffic tickets, stop searches and more, all to meet targets for those at the very top and to present a good picture to the Home Office. This only adds pressure to the frontline officers and leads to a worse service for the public. If officers are overworked, burnt out and stripped of decision-making autonomy, how can they do a good job when it really matters? The officers aren't the problem. They're victims of a failing system that seems intent on stomping down those charged with protecting the public rather than supporting them. The quality of officers I once worked alongside, who helped those in their time of need, who supported those who ran towards danger when other people ran away, who sacrificed their days off, their sleep, their diet, their mental health, social life, birthdays, Christmases, all to help the public, they are a thing of the past. If things don't change soon, the safety and security we've come to expect will become a thing of the past. Are you a police officer or do you know someone in the police? Comment your thoughts below. These videos and articles are published on my Patreon first. To gain access to hundreds of videos, articles, short stories, behind the scenes content and more, sign up right now and support me for just $4.99 a month and take advantage of a 7-day free trial. Scan the QR code on screen right now or click the link in the description below.